Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second part of the ZHT5 album. I actually found out that this is actually called Lyrik Lounge, but it is included as part of the ZHT5 albums, disc 2. Brett, do you want to go ahead first and tell us what you thought of it?
Yeah, I'll do my best. This was a real surprise, really. And as we go and talk about the first song, it will explain why. So, something we've not really had from Kollegah. I'm still trying to work out whether I liked it or I didn't like it, or I think in question, I think I did like it, but I think it was just maybe a bit too repetitive to really. It was nice to, hear and see a different side to what Kollegah could kind of potentially do. But as a whole sort of disc, we'll call it almost like it felt like a different album, let's be honest. It felt a bit too repetitive in some regards. I think if you're a big fan of dogs and cigars, you're going to love this part of the album, because that seems to be a lot what he talks about there. But I say it's almost like seeing a totally different side to him. What I found most frustrating was that even when I had the lyrics up there, and we always talk about how the lyrics are important, and again, I'm not taking anything away from Kollegah. I know he's very good with his words. I would really wanted to try and know and understand more of the meaning behind the tracks in this part of the album. But I felt even whilst looking at the lyrics, I still wasn't entirely sure what it was all about. And that's probably what was the most frustrating thing, because as we'll talk through it, this is very much not about the music, and is about the lyrics and hearing what he's saying. But yeah, I felt frustrated that I didn't quite fully try and get what he was trying to say or understand. But again, it's not taken away against his words and his lyrics if he did. I can always still tell they're very good. But otherwise, I said it was just a totally different side to Kollegah. And like I said, I'm not sure how much I really enjoyed it in that amount. I think one or two of them, if I just heard them separately on an album, great. But yeah, it felt a bit repetitive to me. But it's still Kollegah, it's still what he does.
Okay. So one of our regular viewers left a comment, but I don't know whether you saw it or not, whether you've seen it, sorry. On our previous video, for the first half of the album, saying that he didn't think we would like this part of the album, that it's not even kind of worth listening to. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. Okay. I maybe get it, and I was going to say whilst we're talking through it, I'd be interested to know what real Kollegah fans think of this, because again, I've been quite harsh on it, but it's probably the style I would like to listen to. It felt very relaxed. It was very nice to listen to. But like I said, when you have it too much, it just then almost lost its feeling to it, because it was just like the same old. It honestly felt like Groundhog Day to some regards.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed it generally. So I like the structure of it, because the way it worked was you had a sort of short themed rap track, taking on different kind of professions, I guess, which we'll go through shortly, which was very different to what you'd usually go with Kollegah. Followed by spoken long rap. So there's kind of that structure throughout. So some kind of themed short rap song, followed by this kind of long spoken part. Again, back to another theme, again, another long spoken part. So I kind of got used to that sort of the structure of it. I actually quite enjoyed it. I think it just worked quite well overall. So I like this. I think what I liked about it was that even though those in-between tracks were obviously very slow and spoken, I didn't mind that, because it made it quite easy to follow. Obviously, I had the German on one side, the English on the other translation, and just was able to kind of read along with Kollegah, basically, but in English. And it was just quite interesting. Jotting, taking down my favorite lines and stuff, which we'll go through in a moment. I think, like you, I didn't really understand the bigger picture of it all. I was more just focusing on just the lines, basically, the interesting lines and anything that kind of took my fancy. But yeah, I don't know if Kollegah, does he really, is there such, I don't think there is such a big meaning behind everything. I think it's with him, it's more, he's just trying to, hit some good lines and stuff. I don't know if anyone wants to
Yeah,
say
and I agree.
it.
And I think that is, I totally agree. I think that Germany is not always a bigger picture, but I feel, but because as you said, that there was some form of concept to it. I said there was what was known as the cigar tracks, where he's sort of monologue talking about stuff, and then these in between shorts, which again we'll go through them. Obviously, were short, quite relaxing sounding songs, but about these different professions and like there's obviously some sort of theme sort of going along. So that's why I was thinking, okay, what is the bigger picture? Why choosing different professions? What's the link with everything that's going on? So that was all.
Okay, so the first one was Lyrik Lounge. So I liked the start from the woman. I enjoyed following the lyrics at an easy pace, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. Just found it quite relaxing. The line I took was, tennis elbow, thanks to the jerk-off booth, is your doctor's diagnosis.
Classic Kollegah. Love that. So again, another thing that Kollegah always does do, he always calls an intro track, but again, this is like particularly one of the longest songs probably on there, so quite long. Yeah, like you enjoyed the sort of airline, I've written here like sort of the airline women speaking at the start, as sort of a real sort of introduction. And it felt like it was like spa music in a way. It was like Kollegah rapping with spa music. And again, if you didn't know what Kollegah was rapping about, you feel it was, just nice, relaxing stuff. But as it is still classic Kollegah with his great lines, great lyrics, in just with a different sort of spa, relaxed music. I didn't actually put any lyrics I took from this. And I find with actually a lot of them, there wasn't actually a lot of that sort of stood out. They were just, again, I can tell very good lyrics and just done in a different way. That's all.
Okay. The next one was the Zocker. So I just like the fact it's all about gaming. Like you wouldn't normally get that in a normal Kollegah song, a whole kind of track just about gaming. The line I took was, fuck the thumb arthritis, keep your fingers in the game. So the reason I took that line is because it mentions there about thumb arthritis. Well, I've actually got, I think, Brett, you think you know about this, but maybe our viewers don't know. I've got an injury. I got something called trigger finger. Well, I had something called trigger finger, so my finger got stuck in that one position. And that was from playing too much FIFA because of my joystick. So I've had an operation on it, but I've still got a problem. So yeah, I think the message is don't play too much. Don't be too much of a gamer, I guess. Unless you're really good, you can make a profession out of it and earn loads of money.
Yeah. This was my standout track from this particular album. And I was thinking, because obviously the translation is the gambler, and I was thinking, was that a wrong translation? Was it meant to be the gamer? Because I thought the gamer would be more fitting than the gambler. But we still had this sort of nice, relaxed sort of feeling music to it. But obviously, the standout, and I said, I don't think myself and you are massive, massive gamers as such in the grand scheme of things. You love a bit of FIFA, which is the line I end up taking from here. But I think there's some real serious gamers. Whilst I think even you're probably more than me, casual thing. But it was nice to see so many game references on here. He's been talking about Discord, which is obviously like the social site where you can be streaming your games where people can watch you and stuff. He talks about Tekken, Red Dead Redemption. So at least about 10 to 12 different references there. And I generally thought you were going to put this lyric down. So winning 6-0, you son of a bitch. echoes from the speeches. I hold you, I'm yours, out of FIFA. So sort of having a go, the fact whether he was winning 6-0 FIFA or being beaten at 6-0 FIFA. But I think you also know the frustrations when someone's doing. I'm sure you've called a few people a son of a bitch.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. It's a nightmare. Too much stress. Too much stress.
Do you think there might be the chance that you may have been playing Kollegah at one point at FIFA? He's one of those ones who probably may have beaten you quite easily. Quite
possibly.
But yeah, so for me, standout song in lots of different ways. So yeah, nice to. And that's something I was going to say. It was nice to actually have a whole song where there was no guns, no drugs.
Yeah.
The only bit of violence was probably having to go at someone on FIFA. But yeah, it made a nice change to that, really.
Okay, so I've only just realised this because I didn't translate any of these titles, but that I think that you mentioned it. So Cigar and Pozbar. So that's Cigar is obviously cigar. So I didn't realise that. I just saw it as a really long word. I didn't really make it out. So yeah, it's all about each of these is like a cigar break, I guess. Cigar and pause of bars one. Okay. So the line I took straight away, it's a very long cigar, about 24 centimeters long. No, I'm still talking about the cigar. So I guess it, about his penis, right? About 24 centimeters long. I don't know.
Oh, right. That's it. Oh, right. Okay.
That's all I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's what he was trying to say.
My castle is known for more goals than Aubameyang. I didn't get the line. I don't know what that means, Brett. Maybe you know, but I just like the fact it referred to Aubameyang. I'm assuming it's Pierre. Yeah, it's obviously about the footballer Aubameyang. Another line I took was, "Girl, I know your boyfriend's a repulsive man like Oliver Kahn." So Oliver Kahn, presume is referring to the famous German goalkeeper. I didn't realise. I don't know much about Oliver Kahn in terms of his actual life. Why does Kollegah think he's a repulsive man? I don't know. Another line I took was, "Rappers ain't rappers to me. They're son of a bitches wearing Gucci fashion icons and think they're the ones, but at night they secretly wear pajamas with my designs on them." And that was just an example of kind of why I liked these cigar tracks, because they were just kind of, I was just kind of like looking out for the interesting lyrics and stuff. It was all very relaxed and calm. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that one.
Yeah, so as you know, so obviously we've got a few of these type of cigar break songs that come through. So just because I don't want to repeat myself for each one here, but in terms, because the music and the style is all the same. I say music, there's actually no music. It's literally just him talking, doing like a monologue from there. But the little background you could hear, get really relaxed, and it was just a whole different take of what we're not used to for Kollegah. So don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed those elements there. And I do enjoy, but I said it was just a frustration going, okay, what is this? What are these cigar breaks all about? Is it purely just a break and it's just rapping for the sake of rapping about anything, which is fine. It was, but I said, want to find meaning. So yeah, the two lyrics I wrote down were those exact same football-based ones. So bang yam. Yeah, no idea what, and I tried looking up gates and castles and stuff there, and couldn't find it. And I thought maybe it wasn't to do with Pierre the footballer. Maybe there was a different Aubameyang, which we've never heard of in Germany, but it must be the footballer, because he does do quite a few football references later on and in other albums as well. And then the Oliver Kahn one, no, again, I couldn't find anything of interest about Oliver Kahn. I think maybe he's just doing it really badly just based on his looks, which seems a bit harsh. And the lyrics I had here, they also mentioned, it says the word spast before Oliver Kahn, which I looked into, and I think it's just meant to be a shorter version of the word sort of spastic. Yeah, sort of dumbass. From there, it's a bit offensive in those regards. But yeah. And he also talks quite a bit in this one and in other tracks about his Doberman dog as well. So as I said at the start, if you like cigars and like dogs, you probably like this because he mentions that a lot. But in terms of the style, yeah, really do like it. So I won't talk too much about that next time because they're all the same throughout.
Okay. Next up was the Immobile and Makler. So as I said, I didn't translate the meaning, the titles, but it's pretty obvious. This is obviously an estate agent. And I know the word in Russian, makler, is an estate agent. So that kind of made it easy for me anyway. So the line I took, think of the interest rates at the bank. They're just great. Come on, you'll pay it off in 150 years. Mr. Muller, was that part of the same thing or something different?
Yeah, that was,
like the theme. Yeah, I just like the theme about estate agents, but I think that's pretty cool. So it's like kind of saying, yeah, it's great. The banks and stuff, you get great rates, but you don't really, kind of like taking the piss. Come on, you pay it off in 150 years, and I think that's kind of like I'm renting at the moment, and I never want to get a mortgage. I don't plan on getting one. I don't like the idea where you pay off for year after year after year. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, 150 years, but
I don't know. Not fun.
So that's why I want to buy somewhere outright in a cheaper country. So that's why I took that example, because that's kind of just for me sort of sums up exactly how I feel about like getting a mortgage. Just pay it off for years. So yeah, I just quite enjoyed it again. Just a nice theme about an estate agent that you wouldn't normally get with Kollegah. So yeah, good.
Yeah, a bit like so this did translate. I think the exact translation was the real estate agent. And again, I wasn't sure if this was maybe Kollegah talking about himself being like, owning property and putting out to people, or trying to get. He's finally trying to get on the property ladder and feels the struggles that most people get. And again, like you, I did like this one. Again, it was a different take, like no real guns of violence. It really was talking about housing and property and stuff. So I didn't really take out a standout lyric from this. So I was just wondering if Müller was that meant to be with the people who make the rice puddings, or was it like the German footballer? But I was still trying to understand exactly what was his take on this as such. And how you probably feel how it's kind of also in the same sort of regards, because obviously I do have a mortgage, but I do go insane when people also like with cars, buy really expensive cars, and I know it's not the same with interest rate in those regards, but you're sort of paying it off. I mean, you actually end up paying more because you have to pay interest sometimes on top of that. I think, well, why not just get yourself a second-hand or a half-decent car and pay it outright instead of paying more per month, so to speak. I know if you want an expensive car, you can't just pay for it outright, but it's the same sort of thing, really. It's what he's, the classic line, if you've got money, it's easy to make money, or it's easier to even make more money and stuff. And always rich people have got so much money in the bank, they can actually almost live off their interest or earn money just on interest. So that, but we won't go down that whole thing. Otherwise we'll be all down a different side of things.
Yeah, I think Mr. Muller is probably just a bit like the equivalent of Mr. Smith. I think it's probably a common German surname. Okay, next one then was Zigarren Pausenbars, so Cigar Break 2. The line I took here, fake like that Rolex you got from Kyrgyzstan. I love the fact you brought up Kyrgyzstan, where my wife's from. She was born there. I'm in the process of trying to get a Kyrgyzstan passport as well. So, yeah, I liked it. You can't even get girls. You lack size down there. You can hear him rapping while smoking his cigar. Oh, something different. Yeah. So you can hear him rapping whilst he's smoking his cigar, like taking, like, what do you call it? What's the word?
A dragging or
dragging, yeah, dragging for his cigar. You've got to hear it. That was quite good. And another line I took, and when the boss is relaxed, he's quite willing to have another perspective. And I'm just enjoying the relaxed boss. It's just something I've never kind of heard from him before. This kind of really sort of relaxed sort of style of rap. Not just, well, obviously from him I haven't, but even just in general, I've never kind of really heard rap at that kind of pace before, that kind of style. They're actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I think we have heard like some slow rap before, some listeners, but this is like taken to a different. This is proper, like I said, it's almost like spa music. I've written here also. It's like listening to a talking podcast. It's like so a real different take on it there. Again, I didn't actually take any sort of major lyrics from it. I did notes and put a little thing about Kyrgyzstan. Neil mentioned there because I think we've always talked about he always likes to put different celebrities and different culture things and artists and whatnot. He also does mention a lot of times a few different countries at times as well. And then it was sort of the ending was really weird. It was almost like he was talking to himself or to someone, and it was just again like a classic where it's almost they forgot the record button was still on, and it just felt like they literally were having a cigar break and enjoying the Rax time really.
Okay. Next one was the Baker. I'm guessing that means the baker. So when I was young, I never seemed to fit in with the cool kids. Didn't want to snack on bitches. So this is interesting. I wonder if that is true about him, that he kind of, wasn't so popular at school. Instead, huge waffles, yummy. I was fat, but bullying inspired my hustle. So I was just wondering, did he get bullied at school? Another enjoyable theme away from what he usually raps about as well. So, is that sort of Kollegah getting quite deep with us, sort of showing his emotions? Don't know.
Yeah, again, I really like this one. I was hoping a lot of it was going to be true. I tried to do some research. I couldn't find anything on it. Again, it still has this sort of really nice, slow, relaxing beat and sound to it, which we don't really get from Kollegah. And just a nice change of not hearing, about drugs, guns, and again, there is obviously a little bit of violence to it there, but not in this grand scheme of things. And I generally think, you always hear about people who end up, getting really muscly but because they've ended up being bullied at school, because it's always, people who are fat who end up being a lot fitter in later life, when normally fit ones at school end up being overweight, because it's just one of those strange things that sort of happen there, really. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was true. I was hoping this was a case that he really did work in a family baker's or something and had a job there before he was doing all stuff, because it felt quite real in the sense there, and when he was talking about it. So there's lots of things about it, talking about the rolling pin made of pure gold. That's the role in life. No more baking small rolls. I want to let the dollar bills rain. So all this stuff, didn't want to be a baker's boy, wanted to sort of be a rapper and stuff. And there's other bits where he's referenced like "Give me the flower." I was just picturing, normally he's talking about cocaine, white cocaine. This time he's talking about the flower. Because they want my Black Forest cake. Rappers say they're black. I'm a baker. So again, I think as a youngster, imagining, being bullied and actually finding solitude in this rap music and he knew from a young age, he wanted to be a top rapper, a top artist. So I'm going to play myself and think this Love is true, and it'll be my second favorite track on the album.
Next one was Cigar Break 3. The line I took here was, "Then I'll be like Harry and I won't play the part of a prince." We all know what's happened there with Harry. And again, just still quite enjoying following the lyrics. Nice and slow. Sort of, I can easily sort of keep up with it, even get ahead of it. Just kind of like that element to it.
Yeah, same sort of thing going on from there. Again, the only lyric I put was that same one again about with Harry and giving up the role as a prince. Really put that because obviously this is a real modern, up-to-date album. So it's nice to hear these references doing is actually quite up-to-date as well. And obviously a UK one that we can get from there. But I have put no here because now I'm thinking, are these cigar breaks actually maybe more than a cigar break? Is there sort of a drug-related element, and that's why it's so relaxed and things out. I think it feels a bit more like that on the later ones we're going to go into, but that's why I just made a little note of that there, going, oh, maybe actually there could be some marijuana in these cigars, or is his reference to cigars actually to do with drugs? I don't think so. I think he generally, is this big persona that would prefer to smoke cigars. So they probably are cigars, but it was just making me think the whole sort of real relaxed elements of it all.
Okay, the next one was the coach. So I'm assuming that means the coach, like a sports coach. No lyrics stand out in this one, but again, at least the theme was different again. So, again, just different kind of theme to what you'd normally get with a typical Kollegah track.
Yeah, same. I didn't take sort of a standout lyric from this, and I've written here it's very similar to the Baker, where again it's this theme which is talking about, it's almost like military, isn't it? Fitness, trying to get fit. Yeah. And again, I didn't know if it was linked, him actually coming away with Baker and wanting to get in shape and stuff. And this was the start of it, and telling a little bit of his story, how he started to get, more muscular and more fit and stuff. But otherwise, yeah, I said very similar as before. The same sort of slow tempo, nice to listen to, and it's sort of frustration. Go, okay, what are these actually linked? Is this actually giving us an insight to Kollegah, or is it just for the sake of picking random jobs and just rapping about them?
Cigar Break 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this made me laugh. About an expensive cigar, and now onto drugs. A line I took here was, in my spare time, you often see me in a picture gallery or the Philharmonic like Nicolas Sarkozy. I think there's a French president. But it was starting to get a little bit boring by this stage. It's kind of getting a little bit tired of these sort of cigar breaks. But that was, I think, possibly the last one I listened to. And then I went to bed. And I kind of got a bit more refreshed maybe the next day when I carried on listening.
I couldn't say anything different compared to the other ones from here. And this is what I was saying. Like, I do appreciate these. I do get these. But it's almost like, especially when the other tracks are so short, it's like you haven't had time to enjoy those before you're all back already to. And I said there's nothing wrong, but I quite enjoyed the relaxed element. But again, not being able to speak the language or really understanding what the theme is, or if there's something to it. And I'm not saying it had to be, it just would have helped. But like I said, yeah, no real standout lyrics. The same were going on, nice relaxed too, but a bit Groundhog Day for me at this point.
Okay, the next one was the Personenschützer. So, which I'll talk about in a minute, the meaning. There are Saudis who will pay a few million for a mission. So I think this was a personal bodyguard, I think. I haven't translated it, just from the meaning I got from it. So yeah, there are Saudis who will pay a few million for a mission. Sniper shot, Tiger Woods, pro with the iron. It's another line I took that I liked. I got that one. So yeah, about being a bodyguard. But not much happening at the end. It kind of just, from what I remember, the music just got carried on, but nothing really happens.
Yeah, I remember that music sort of ending from that on there. So yeah, this I think there as the bodyguard. And again, I was a bit like with the coach and then the Baker. Is this again maybe a job now? He's got his fitness stuff. He's now feel it, and to earn a bit of money before he was doing illegal stuff potentially. Did he spend time not necessarily as a bodyguard, but maybe like a bouncer or something along those lines there? Because I can imagine Kollegah doing something like that. So I was thinking more along those lines. I just put, obviously there's also reference to the Kevin Costner movie, The Bodyguards, as well. So yeah, I was just again want to know if there was any sort of more deeper meaning to it. Like there must be a reason why he's picking these particular jobs. And it might not be, it might be just totally, that's the job and that's the job there. But I like to think these ones are kind of linked. I think the later ones probably aren't, but it could fit in at the moment. So yeah, that's what I was really writing about at that point.
So next one was Cigar Break 5. Loving the cigar introduction. I like this line: "You're wankers, but I like you." Another line: "Because research says your penis isn't big enough to bear children." But hang on, the Beck's six-pack like Posh Spice. I didn't actually get that, but I just like the fact it was about Beck's and Posh Spice. The next line I took was: "When I gave birth, I slapped the midwife on the arse." I was just enjoying the lines and the slow tempo again, same kind of thing. I think I got refreshed. It was a new day. I was sort of enjoying it again.
Maybe that's what I should have done. Maybe at this point I should have done a half-time break, and it probably helped. Because yeah, again, it's just still feeling very repetitive. I also wrote down the Beckham line. So what was the first part? So he was talking about that your homies drag onto you, listen to rap music from Thug Life. So Thug Life are a band who Tupac used to be on, but they hang on the same way Posh Spice is hanging on to Beck's in a six-pack. So I think that's what he was trying to say, that these so-called homies, just tagging along or trying to last longer than they need to be, the same way Posh Spice is, living off David Beckham's six-pack. But it's nice to, again, see Kollegah obviously is some form of football soccer fan, so that's always good to know as well.
Okay. The next one was the Medska, which I think means the butcher. It was interesting. I didn't actually have anything to say about this one. Again, yeah, just interesting, a different kind of theme, but no lines really stood out.
Yeah, same game. Nothing really stood up there. This is where I was thinking, okay, maybe the job's on links. I now can't imagine Kollegah then having a job as a butcher. And what was and then this was thinking, okay, well, there must still be. I'm so frustrated by thinking, there must be a reason why. Sort of there, the sort of line I took from it, and thinking, was there maybe trying to do a deep meaning where he's talking about, oh, are you a butcher there? But are you vegan? And I think he's trying to see, it's quite not ironic. What's the word? Contradiction in a way where that you're sort of a butcher, but you're actually vegan. And I think there's a lot of people who either do jobs or doing things because it pays the bills when actually it's not what they probably really believe in, or what they believe in. It contradicts what they're actually doing. But I think that's just me trying to grab some sort of reading meaning to it, and maybe not just taking for the fact it's just Kollegah rapping about stuff that can be linked to the butcher.
Okay. So the next one is Cigar Break 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Nice and relaxing. The line I took here was, "Thank you, hooker. And now bring me a Turkish kebab with lamb." Okay. Another line I liked was, "I'll turn the Ibis Hotel into a neighborhood brothel," because I've sometimes stayed at various Ibis hotels around the world. So yeah. "I create rules for the Ottos like the coach Jurgen Kloppo." So I think he's referring to Jurgen Klopp. I looked up Jurgen Kloppo. I think it's just like maybe a kind of a nickname for Jurgen Klopp, maybe. And there was sound of the rain outside when this track was playing. So I kind of like that kind of effect. And again, it's just quite enjoyable, just kind of listening, picking out interesting lines.
Yeah, so this one's very sort of prostitute heavy, I think. So the line I put down was about prostitute, but I also made a little note about Kloppo. And again, like with the previous one, thinking, have a little search, was he someone actually there, or was it meant to be Jurgen Klopp? And I believe it was meant to be Jurgen Klopp. What was the line here? Prostitutes that look like a knight's helmet, trans bitch, so I think like a transvestite. You don't fool me with your Prada jacket on. You're like from the Garden of Eden. I can see you have an Adam's apple. So sort of making obvious that prostitute looks like a man, as you can see down in the apple, and again, good play on words from there.
Yeah. The next one was Derita. So I guess it's a cat. And I really like this because this is I love cats. And I like the first part of the song, but the second part then kind of got quite typical Kollegah. The first part was very much kind of cat related, like real cat related. So some of the lines I took were I devote myself to a pronounced midday nap, get up again, then do nothing for a long time. When I'm called, I look the other way. So that's pretty typical of what cats do, really. So yeah, I agree with that, and just enjoyed sort of listening to him. I don't know, sort of pretending to be a cat.
Yeah, so I've got this one a little bit different here. So don't forget. So I've got here a translation, The Hangover. So I don't know if that was on a different one there. Because otherwise he talks about a couple of rounds and says hangover like Jay-Z and hangover like Lil Wayne. So again, maybe I've got the wrong sort of thing from here. And I couldn't try and work out exactly what it was trying to say. I was trying to find out what does he mean by hangover. Maybe it's not meant to be the hangover at all whatsoever. Maybe it's meant to do with the cat, which could also make sense in some regards as well. But the song itself, again, nice and slow, good feeling to it. So if anyone's listened to it and they want to maybe help and find out sort of what that one is actually really about, if it is meant to be about anything at all.
1 second. Because the translation I had was about a cat. Like I think we're using it. I use DeepL Translate. I'm guessing you use Google Translate.
Yeah, mine was Google, I think.
Yeah, but in any case, it was talking about
mother is sleeping and
okay. Maybe. Interesting. Okay. Maybe it was about a hangover. Maybe I just assumed it was about a cat.
Yeah, I think they both work in the same way. But like I say, even with the hangover thing, like it was still hard to try and work out what exactly he was trying to say. It didn't fit in with a hangover kind of thing as well. So, like I said, unless it's something in the German translation that doesn't quite fit to English as such. Yeah, we'll maybe call that the sort of the mystery track of it, because again, it's not on a profession like compared to the other things, so it seems a bit unusual.
Oh no, but hang on. I'm just on a Google translation. So Kata translates as male cat, tomcat, and hangover as well.
Okay.
Must have been about a cat, surely. It must have been.
I'd say it could probably fit more than a hangover. I don't know.
Must be a cat. That's definitely about a cat. The next one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Cigar Break number 7. Love the cigar intro again. I like the line here. I now hand out white packets to fans instead of albums. I wonder what's in those white packets. Another line I took, you've got to build a bus in jail. I'm not talking about car mechanics. Your training is to blow dicks away in jail. Yeah, not bad, this one.
Good old classic Kollegah. So obviously this was the last cigar break here, and I think I've just finished with the final line that we have from him. We'll grace your life and let you float away, get into the distance like a shower of falling stars. So almost like another sort of very poetic, deep meaning line from Kollegah. What it's about, I don't know. But what I really liked about it, because even this was, again, really slow, really relaxed. And you even had, I can't really explain it, it's like sort of tingling, sort of almost like you know, when you get like tingling music for Christmas, it has that sort of like mystical, magical feeling at the end. So I just imagine Kollegah doing that last line and having that sort of sound. Then it's just very un-Kollegah. But it was nice to hear it on this and something a little bit different.
Okay. The next one then was Derita, which I think means the night. So I like the background music. No lyrics stood out, but I did like the kind of sound effect voice in the background, sort of like a baby kind of high-pitched voice. Kind of made it quite a nice sort of feel to it.
So I got the translation tonight as well. We're having a bit of sort of a female singer, I found it was from there. Again, nothing really sort of stood out there, but it was nice that it was meant to be talking about sort of the medieval time. I thought it would have been good, interesting if he almost took, you know, sort of his modern rap day-to-day life, but based it on what would happen if it was the same Kollegah in his life, but back in medieval time. So it could still have had drugs. He could have still been dealing drugs out there as well. I think he talks about people have relate with a lance or a sword or something along those lines. So having that sort of the same equivalent, but for medieval time. But it didn't quite work like that. I think it was just, again, lyrics for the sake of being lyrics. But again, nice relaxing tune to it. And again, something a little bit different.
The last one was Universal Guinea 2.0. So I guess Universal Genius, maybe, I don't know, 2.0. So this was different. It had fast rap, not real Kollegah fast rap, but fast rap compared to what we've been listening to on this album so far. I like the American rapper part, that kind of added to it. It had that kind of, I think the American rap part happened twice, once in the middle, once at the end. Lyrics were interesting. Non-violent lyrics, kind of about the world in general. It was more of a kind of, reminded me a little bit more like of Black Eyed Peas, whereas the love kind of thing, that kind of feel to it. So I enjoyed that element to it. It was very sort of different lyric-wise.
That's exactly what I put there. I really enjoyed the fact that the lyrics were very different and weren't so Kollegah violent in some regards. We also had a bit of sort of LP scratching, like old school kind of rap kind of sounds there. The English rap bit in the middle and at the end, for me, was definitely the best bit. A nice sort of contrast there. It would be nice to have a little bit more of that in some of the other tracks. But not only was there no mention of, you know, normal drugs, guns, and violence, there was also not one mention of dogs or cigars in this one as well, which made also a bit of a change. So not his normal sort of outro end song, but I think a good solid song for this particular album.
Okay, so how would you sum the album up, or the second part of the album, this two?
Yeah. And so I'm happy to think it was this because it almost felt like a completely different album in itself. Like I said, there was a lot to like from it in terms of the difference in the normal lyrics that Kollegah does, the relaxed element, the sparse sounding music, and all those elements there. I just would have liked to have had a bit more of a theme or a bit of understanding what a lot of them were about, if they could have been. And I said, just me, it just felt a bit too repetitive. Like I said, I do like the cigar breaks. I do like the concept. I do like the idea. But I think they just, afterwards, such short songs in between, they just came around too quickly and it just felt a bit repetitive to me there. So it's a hard one. I think ideally would like to have some of these elements in some of his other albums. And for me, that could make a Kollegah album better for my personal thing. But for this, just a bit too repetitive for me.
Okay, so I enjoyed this just as much, if not more, than a lot of the actual, proper sort of Kollegah albums we've listened to. His more kind of traditional stuff. Like I said earlier, I just like the fact there was the cigar breaks, which I found quite interesting to listen to, and then the themed tracks as well. Interesting track at the end as well. So yeah, overall, I like this and would rate it quite quite highly, to be honest. So yeah, I'm glad we listened to it, despite that comment that said we probably fall asleep listening to the Cigar Break stuff. Probably would have done if we hadn't translated the lyrics, and it would have been pretty pointless and would have been really boring. But with the lyrics, it kind of, you know, made it more very interesting, and we're able to kind of keep up with it. And yeah, like I say, thought it was quite enjoyable for sure. So guys, that is it from us. Hope you enjoyed the review. Let us know what you thought of the album yourself. And currently on 79 subscribers still, I think it is, making our way up slowly to 100. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do to get more great quality reviews and reactions as well. And if you've got a question for us, let us know in the comment section below if you haven't asked us already, because we do have a 100 subscriber Q&A special coming up very soon, we hope. So that's, yeah, pretty much it from us. We'll see you again for the next one very soon. So goodbye, tschüss.